What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Swan Signal Live. I'm your host, senior analyst at Swan Bitcoin, Sam Callahan. So excited to be here today. We got two awesome guests from across the pond, and I'm excited to talk to them. But before we get into the conversation, I want to bring up one of our sponsors. That's Marathon Digital Holdings. Marathon is the largest and most technologically advanced publicly traded Bitcoin miner and is also one of the most energy efficient. Marathon's primary mission is to enhance the Bitcoin network by sustainably increasing the amount of computational power, also known as hash rate, to help make Bitcoin the world's most decentralized and secure monetary network. So go check it out. That's ticker MARA. Also, Pacific Bitcoin. Pacific Bitcoin is the festival that Swan puts on every year in October. That's October 18th and 19th. It's going to be a wonderful time. If you use the promo code SIGNAL, right now, you can get 10% off on your tickets. And if you use Bitcoin, you can get an additional 21% off on those tickets. So go check it out at pacificbitcoin.com. We got a great list of speakers and events and workshops lined up. And it's going to be a great time with this bull market just getting started. You know, working in the Bitcoin industry, one of the perks, I would say, is sometimes I get to go abroad for conferences and speaking engagements. And some of my friends are like, man, I'm jealous. I wish my job had something like that. But really what it comes down to is that Bitcoin is a global asset. It's a global phenomenon in money itself. And it allows me to connect with people all over the world. And I'm so honored and privileged to be able to have a network of people from all across the globe who are all on the same mission, which is educating people about Bitcoin and driving the adoption of new digital sound money. And two guests that I have on today are two great educators in the space. One is Knut Svanholm, who is an author and the host of the Freedom Footprint Show. I got one of his books right here. What's up, Knut? And the other is Matyas, who is the co-founder of the largest Bitcoin conference in Europe, BTC Prague. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Swan Signal Live. Can't wait to chat.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So like I said, you know, I was in Madeira recently, and there was a lot of European Bitcoiners there. And I just get the sense that the people in Europe, they just really understand Bitcoin well. I don't know how else to say it. I learned so much from European Bitcoiners, and you two are part of that crew. And I guess I want to start with maybe how Bitcoin grew in Europe. You know, I look at the history of Europe. It's rife with you know, examples of failing fiat currencies. And it seemed like it does make sense why there are a lot of Bitcoiners in Europe. But you guys have a front row seat being early adopters yourselves and in the community there. So maybe we can take a step back and just talk about how the community grew in Europe for Bitcoin. Maybe throw it to Matyas, and then you can jump in, Knut.
All right. Yeah. Look, I think it all started even before Bitcoin. Like Europeans, and I can especially talk about Czechs. We've been fighting for the freedom always because we are just a small country, and we've been under many oppressive regimes since almost the medieval. So I don't want this to sound like a history lesson. But coming to the age of Bitcoin, 2010, the guys were meeting and geeking about Bitcoin. And Slash was the guy from Prague, Marek Platinus, who invented the first Bitcoin mining pool, the concept of mining with the pools. The Slash pool is operated by brains until now and mined more than 1 million Bitcoin. And so this was the very beginning of Bitcoin era in Prague. And since that time, we have another accomplishments like the first ever hardware wallet in 2012, BIP39 and BIP44, which gave base for the recovery seed standard for the whole world. Yeah, we all use the seed phrase for securing our Bitcoin. Or the biggest ATM manufacturer comes from Prague, General Bytes. And this, I believe, is the thing what gave a very good base for Bitcoin in Czech Republic, in Czech and Slovakia, because as you might know, guys, it's always about the time in market, not timing the market. So it all started in 2010, 11, 12, you know. So we had, as a community, we had just the time to study Bitcoin properly, and we went through the regular phases, but it snowballed until the size which is now. And I'm very proud about the Czech community, because it's well educated. It does the good way of storing Bitcoin and using Bitcoin and not shitcoining too much.
Yeah, there are so many different stories from different countries in Europe. I mean, Germany, for instance, experienced 10 different currencies during the 20th century, if you count all of them, like the Weimar Republic and East Germany and all of this, the German history during the last century. So 10 different currencies is pretty weird. And especially old people in Germany have there's a cash culture there, so they want to keep their ability to use cash. And I come from Sweden, which is sort of the opposite of all of this, where people happily flock together and swim like a school of fish into a net. We've had our own currency for a long time. I mean, the Swedish krona, the Swedish Riksbank is the first central bank in the world. I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but nevertheless, the currency has been relatively stable over the years, and people have. It's almost a cashless society today, and everyone uses the same apps and the same cards, and it would be fairly easy for a third party to just turn the entire country off, and I find that pretty scary. Most people don't seem to see the danger there, but point being that Europe has a lot of history and a lot of different stories. I mean, the US, it's the dollar, right? That's the story of the US for a long time. But in Europe, there's a different story and different currencies, and not to mention the euro, the latest fiat shitcoin, the latest big one anyway, and how that experiment is playing out. I mean, it's pretty bonkers how much they print both here and over there.
Yeah, Europe's really interesting because obviously there's individual countries with vastly different cultures, but you do have this one currency and this one central bank for all these, 20 plus countries. You brought up Sweden, and it's one of the most digitalized economies in the world, right? They're actually one of the earliest, pilot programs for CBDCs, and the ECB is very far along in terms of their retail CBDC. And I'm just wondering, in the different countries, I mean, you're from Czech Republic, you're from Sweden. Is there like vast differences in how they view freedoms, and specifically when it comes to like economic freedoms? And do you guys notice like the different cultures kind of clashing on these topics? Because I'm just curious, because I look at the developments of the digital euro or things like that. I see pushback a little bit, but then sometimes I'm like, where is the pushback? And I'm wondering if it's just like different cultures think differently. Can you guys speak on that?
Yeah, I believe there are differences from every country. Yeah, for example, Germans are very, very focused on their own like individual privacy. They might come to the conference with hidden face, or don't want to share the phone number, but they don't care about buying Bitcoin with KYC. Yeah. On the other hand, Czechs, they are not really afraid about sharing the private information with each other peer to peer, but they are very well aware of buying Bitcoin off exchange. This is just my observation, and I would say that it comes with the history, because the Europe was split into two halves. One was the Eastern Bloc ruled by Soviet Union, and the second one was the Western, taken over by US. So this naturally made a border and changed everything.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, like the history plays a big role here, and it's like it's like we've flipped the roles of the countries nowadays, because nowadays, like the Western European countries are the one who are more likely to go bah and obey whatever their governments tell them, and the Eastern European countries are more resilient to government mandates, because they know where that road ends. They've seen it, and it's just a generation or two away, where they were all living in this giant statist prison. So I think when the Berlin Wall fell, everyone thought that, oh, now Eastern Europe is liberated. But what we sort of left out of that story is that it also infected Western Europe with socialistic ideas. So I think the tables have been turned there, and which is one of the reasons why I love Prague so much, and East Europe in general, because there's a more positive attitude about the future, and like people are fighting for their liberties, and valuing liberty high, holding liberty in higher regard than Westerners are, who are, asleep.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about that a little bit, Matyas? About like Czech Republic. Of you guys recently, it's not too long ago that you guys went through, communism and some of the ill effects of that. I wonder if we could maybe touch about that, and maybe touch on why you think that maybe contributes to why the Bitcoin community is so strong there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was born in the year 90, so it was after the Berlin Wall has fallen. But I can say, like, my parents, of course, they told me about it, and it was it was not a really nice time to be in Czech. There was not too much on the market. So this thing, like central planning, had the effect on people. Not only that they didn't trust the government, sometimes they had to be really careful what they are talking in front of others, because there was just this secret police who could take you and put you in the prison because you were thinking badly about the government. But the effect, what was even worse, is that there was nothing on the market. So if you wanted to have something special in your home, you had to make it. And that kind of cultivated the craftsman culture in the Soviet countries. So I can see that as a reason why Czechs are so good in IT and in Bitcoin, because they just know that if they want something, they have to make it. And our older generations, they were like really handy people. Yeah, they had no problem to pretty much create a furniture for their home and grow their own food. And this is like exactly what the Bitcoin community stands for right now. Be sovereign individual, take a responsibility for your own life. So I kind of like it, but it's because of the very harsh history and suffering of generation of my parents and their parents.
Proof of work, huh? And Knut, you've kind of written about like the ills of collectivism versus maybe how Bitcoin could be a different avenue. Maybe we can touch on that a little bit and dig into, how Bitcoin offers a different potential future to the one we see kind of getting ingratiated into the West, this collectivist mindset, help me, the state, come and help me kind of thing. Maybe you can touch on why that's so bad, and then maybe how Bitcoin offers a potential different solution.
Yeah, well, it's all about resource allocation and where and the price signals in the market. That's what made socialism fail. It's not the common misconception is that people in socialist countries didn't have the incentive to work, but they did, because they had a gun to their heads. So if they didn't work, they were either thrown into the gulags or killed. So they very much had an incentive to work, but without a proper pricing mechanism and a proper free market, you don't know what to produce and when and how much of it. So the Soviet Union employed more economists than any other country in history, which is very fascinating. So it says a lot about the profession, I think, and this is because there are so few, basically just the Austrian economists, that get it right, because it's prices are a signaling mechanism first and foremost, and this is what Bitcoin does so well because of the 21 million and the damn near perfect money structure. So if you look at, like, as an individual, whatever you can do at each given moment is you can play. If you look at your life as a card game, you can only play the cards you have on hand at the moment, right? And this is true for every moment in your life. And you're born with a certain hand of cards, and what cards you have right now depends on what cards you started with, of course, but also, more importantly, how you played those cards throughout your life. So at any given moment, you have capital, which is your capital goods and your money, things that can produce better cards in the future. You have your skills, and you have your network of other human beings. And Bitcoin is all three. It's not just the money part. It is you require skills, and you acquire more skills while deep diving into Bitcoin. You learn very much about it's inevitable that stumbling down one cavern, one part of the rabbit hole, will lead you to other sub-caverns, such as Austrian economics, or being more skilled with computers and computer networks in general, and better at mathematics and all this stuff. And also, most importantly, it is the people. Like, because if you think about what Bitcoin is, it's all about keeping a secret, and the computers involved are just extensions of our minds. That's all it is, doing the calculations for us. But it's really the person who decides to run the code, the person who decides to keep the secret, the person who decides to fire up the node, or to buy the ASICs, or propose the fork. Those are the real those are the network, not the computers. It's the people. So we are not only are we all Satoshi, but we're all Satoshis. We are the Bitcoins. And that's what makes this thing so mind-blowingly world changing, because when we realize that we are the same thing, we don't have an incentive to kill each other anymore. We want to trade with one another and voluntarily give up stuff for other stuff, and do things the civilized way. That's just how this thing works. And the weirdest aspect of this is that we probably had it in us all along. We just didn't know how to do it properly before Bitcoin was discovered. But at the end of the day, it's just an agreement between people on a fixed set of rules. And clever mathematics makes it more costly to try to break the rules than to follow them, which is why it works. And to me, that's just it is the solution to almost everything.
I have a quote. I mean, you said the more you are invested in Bitcoin, the more it changes you, right? And like, to think about how at scale, as Bitcoin continues to grow and adoption grows, and what that means for the world, it's exciting. I mean, it gets me optimistic and excited, because I've experienced it myself. I wonder if maybe we could do a little self-inspection here. And the beauty of the halving is, if you just like look back to the last halving, what's changed for you, what's changed in your life with Bitcoin, how you see Bitcoin, how that's matured from 2020 to 2024. Maybe we can take a step back and think about where you guys have grown in your life with Bitcoin, and then also how Bitcoin itself has grown since the last halving to the one we're about to experience in less than a week now. Throw it to you, Matyas.
Well, yeah, it's incredible that it's 4 years since last halving. I cannot really believe it. When I take myself to 2020, that was the year when I actually was transitioning from my fiat job to Bitcoin job, and it was also a COVID time. Yeah. So this is unreal. Like, now I cannot believe that the world was so crazy. And Bitcoin for me was the only hope and something real to really touch. And it gave me the strength to not get crazy at home. And since that time, like, I mean, wow, I'm living the dream, to be honest with you guys. Like, I love what I'm doing, and I cannot imagine not having a Bitcoin in my life. So, and how Bitcoin grew incredibly, and not only from the price perspective, but from the acceptance from the people. I can see that it gains some credibility in traditional markets. Normies are talking about the Bitcoin from different perspective. It's not the money for drug dealers anymore, and it almost stopped boiling oceans. So we also got some ground there.
Now it's wasting water, though.
So yeah, like, I mean, it went too fast to actually like realize what changed. You kind of surprised me with this question.
Yeah, for me, like, 2020, like, that was the halving 2020 happened just a couple of months before I wrote the article that spawned the title of that book, Everything Divided by 21 Million. So that article was published on the 21st of August in 2020, which I didn't realize until afterwards, when we started the whole Infinity Day thing the year after at a conference in Mexico. So that's the magazine it was published in, Hodlonaut Citadel 21 magazine. That very issue with that article in it was released on the 21st of August 2020, which which is just mind blowing. There's like the coincidences are everywhere if you look for them. And yeah, since then I had a regular fiat job back then, and now I make money off my brain farts. So I'm very happy too. Yeah. Yeah, so very happy to be here, and I'm also living the dream. I mean, it changes the saying is, it changes you more than you can change it, because Bitcoin is a medium of change. It stays the same so that you can adapt to it. And the people who don't, they let their egos stand in their ways, and they have their narrative about what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to do, and then it goes and does something else. And if you don't adapt, you will fall behind. And yeah, maybe you become a big blocker or a monkey salesman or whatever sidetrack you end up on. But if you stay humble and just observe this thing and realize that it is bigger than you are, then you're on the right path, and you will meet you will befriend the best people in the world, and that's the best part of it. And realizing that you're the same organism is just, yeah, I'm absolutely, what's the word, flabbergasted, I love that word, by what Bitcoin has done for me, and especially what Bitcoiners have done. They are the same thing, but the last couple of years. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, I mean, I have to echo what you guys said. I mean, back in 2020, I was also working a fiat job, and I really wanted to work in Bitcoin. And to think, it was only about a couple months later after the halving where started working at Swan, and to see Swan grow over that time and just meet so many great people. I think it's like the network that you gain in Bitcoin, and just exchanging ideas with what I think some of the brightest minds in the world. I mean, so thankful to be a part of the community just in general. And then I think about Bitcoin itself, and I mean, just in 2020, I just remember like we were still just getting out of this phase where, if Bitcoin showed up on a talk show, it was kind of like a big deal. Like it was kind of getting more mainstream, but now it's like daily coverage, and you have, mainstream financial news sites really discussing the halving, like the intricacies of the halving. And it's just, if you just take these little like signposts here and there, it's just a sign that the Bitcoin, you know, virus, for lack of a better word, is just infiltrating society, whether they realize it or not. And Knut, you say that like we're probably living through hyper Bitcoinization right now. It's hard for us to kind of feel that. It's like we're in the water and you can't feel the water, but I think it is happening. Like, I think hyper Bitcoinization is happening right in front of us, and it's hard to even notice it, but it's like it's happening. Or just compare it to the last 4 years to where we are now. I mean, it's incredible just to take a step back and look at all the growth we've experienced in Bitcoin, the community, how it's matured, how it's viewed by the public. I mean, it's crazy. And like the next 4 years to think what it's going to be like. I think that's going to be exponential in the future. So exciting times.
Exciting, but also a little bit scary, because I believe that we are changing. We are changing the. Let me put it differently. We've been in a phase of the early adopters, but now we are changing to the maybe early majority, and this kind of change comes with a change of a culture. And I can already feel that most of the newcomers, they don't care too much about the cypherpunk movement, which started it, and it's very important, I would say, and I'm trying my part to nurture this culture and really keep teaching people what is the real thing behind that. Don't forget where it started and what's the legacy of Satoshi and the cypherpunks, because that's really the most important thing. One it will slick to the ATF and money for Wall Street. That's a bad thing. So I believe that we are now on the edge of this thing happening in front of our eyes, and because the bull market brings a lot of noise, we have to try even harder to nurture this great culture and don't make excuses and shortcuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everything in Bitcoin is binary. Like Bitcoiners might identify as non-binary, but Bitcoin is very binary at its core. And so this is the thing. Either Satoshi solved the Byzantine general's problem or he didn't. And you can only solve that problem once. Because the thing you discover when you do that with a number is that you discover resistance to replicability, and trying to replicate that is futile at best. Like either you solved digital scarcity or not. There is no middle ground here, which means that if he indeed did solve this, then we are living through hyper Bitcoinization. So if Bitcoin continues to work and does what it does, and we keep the cypherpunk ethos, as you say, Matyas, because Bitcoin cannot be censorship resistant if it can be censored. So it has to be black market money. It cannot. It's about separating money from state. And right now it separates my money from state. It separates your money from state, but it doesn't separate all money from state. That is up. We'll see that over the next coming decades here, where that goes. But if it works, which it seems to do, we are living through hyper Bitcoinization. We have a better form of money, and it's only a matter of time before people realize. Might take 1,000 years, might take 3 years. I don't know, but we are living through it. And if you're viewing that from the correct lens, you can experience it now. You can hyper Bitcoinize. You can live in this reality. You can also, and that's not a binary, because you can choose how much of yourself you allocate to this thing, how much you dare to cross the bridge to the other side. You can still have a foot in the fiat land, but you can emancipate yourself to an extent that wasn't possible just 5 years back, or even 1 year back. The tools keep on getting better. So yeah, stay vigilant and stay updated.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what you guys say in terms of protecting like the ethos that made Bitcoin special. The values of the community, the early community, making sure that newcomers kind of understand where we're coming from. And it seems like we are in like a transition period, whether it's a transition from separating, money from the state, or a transition from the early adopters to the early mainstream. I was just wondering if we could maybe talk about the halving just a little bit, because I just looked at the Fed, and it's just hilarious when the Fed's like doing its thing and everyone stops what they're doing and watches what they're going to do with the price of money. And Knut, you mentioned how like money is a tool we use to find stability in the markets in an uncertain world. And if you tamper with it, you reduce the functionality of the price signals in the entire economy. And that's what the halving kind of means to me. It's just like it's such a clear event of the predictable nature of Bitcoin and why it functions better as money. But I want to know what you guys think, if you agree with that, or what does the halving mean to you? Do you think this halving specifically, do you believe in this, like it's going to pump the price afterwards or something like that? Or what does it actually mean to you on a more fundamental level, as we enter this halving in a couple days?
Well, it's just a mathematical function that is playing out over the years. So like it's really nothing special, but then again, it is special because everything has a dual meaning in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is love, and Bitcoin is is fuck you money, and Bitcoin is financial atheism, and Bitcoin is a cult, and all of this stuff. It's everything all at once, and this issuance schedule, it's set up in a way so that it gets costlier and costlier to find more Bitcoins over time. And the more miners that come online, the harder they become to find. So this is a first in human history. Whenever, so in other words, it has a fixed stock to flow ratio. If you've read stuff about Bitcoin, you know this. And the commodity it's often compared to is gold, which has quite a high stock to flow ratio, meaning that if the gold price goes up, more resources are allocated to finding new gold, because finding new gold is more profitable. So, but most of the gold has already been found. So the flow of new gold onto the market doesn't increase that much. In Bitcoin, this is fixed. So regardless of how high the Bitcoin price goes, they won't be found at any quicker pace. And this is a first in human history, and it's very weird. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Fees will go up. In all probability, fees will go up, at least short term. And because block space, or as I like to call it, time space, which is data storage on the time chain where you put your transactions. I shouldn't say data storage because that implies that you can and should put other shit there. But that is also a scarce resource. However, it's not as scarce as the Satoshis themselves. It's the block space is scarce during a specific time window. So like the ability to get into the last Bitcoin block is gone forever. You cannot get into that block, but you can get into the next one if you pay the appropriate fee. The Satoshis, however, they are there forever. You can always find them by some means. I mean, if the private key is lost, they're extremely hard to find. But they were there from the beginning of time. They're just numbers, and you could view this as I'm rambling here, I know, but as Bitcoin always being there. It's just that the hash rate was 0 before 2009. So all the Bitcoins already exist. They've always existed. It's just that the hash rate was 0. So they didn't have any meaning to us before 2009.
They were discovered, right?
So they were discovered because they were already there. It's just a matter of a point of view. And this is what the word property is. It's the relationship between the person and the thing. And this is like for the first time in human history, you're able to own a number, or own an element without mass, as I like to call it. That's the element zero theory, that this is like a massless element, that whoever finds the location of the number finds the number, and therefore finds this thing. So the information about the thing and the thing are the same thing. Which it's just, the more you think about this, the more crazy you go. And if you're lucky, you can make a living off of your crazy brain farts. But this is what it is. Like, since it's only information, that means it lives in our heads. That means it is us, and it's just a way to organize ourselves that is better than superior to all ways of organizing ourselves that preceded it. If you look at all other forms of money, they've all had this money printing problem, which means all of history is colored by the fact that some bad people have been controlling the money supply, which means that all of history is false to a certain extent. It's all toxic. And it's only the toxic maximalists who aren't toxic, really, because that's born out of economic literacy rather than anything else. I don't know if this was an answer to a question or what it was, but yeah, I just
I just let you run, man.
Yeah.
Matyas, what about you?
Hope you found value in it.
Well, how can I now go after Knut? Yeah, it will be difficult. I don't like, just to react on what Knut said. Like, very interesting, but I'm not so sure if there will be no money printing in the future. People are very very I shouldn't say clever. I should put some other word behind this. So I'm pretty sure there will be some nefarious actors who will print money even on Bitcoin standard. So again, coming to the solution, just be so sovereign, and you will be happy. But regarding the halving, I'm really excited about this, but still kind of living in a bear market, to be honest. Like, I didn't fully realize that it's here, and I'm very surprised that the price is not pumping more. Who is selling Bitcoin? Yeah, GBTC has still something, but who is really now selling Bitcoin? It's crazy. So looking forward to the great pump. I'm expecting some really really crazy numbers, like always. When the Bitcoin starts pumping, there will be some god candles. Everybody will get crazy. Then they will hop in at the all-time high, and then they will wait another 4 years to recover from this. It's gonna be pretty same. Maybe the drawdowns will not be so big, but who knows? There will be some learning lessons again. So I'm just staying humble, stacking sats, DCAing, and just trying to stay off the charts, because that's probably I would say the best advice what you can give to someone. Just don't watch the price too much, and stack sats, and keep the strategy as it was during the bear market. Don't change too much. Get a very low time preference and watch 10-year upfront, not just few years. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing what Bitcoin taught me. Lower the time preference, and make very long plans, long relationship, and don't look for shortcuts. So don't buy some better Bitcoins, because there is none.
No, and if I may add a couple of things there, absolutely money printing will go on in the future, and I think the thing, if you don't run your own node and verify that the Bitcoins you receive are actual what you determine to be Bitcoin, then you receive paper Bitcoins, and they may or may not be false. I mean, if you're using a custodial wallet, the custodial Lightning wallet, for instance, those people can do fractional reserve banking on that, and you have no way of telling what that it's actually true if you don't do the actual verification. So there's something to be said there. even though I think this system is way more trustworthy than the banking system by its very nature, because of the cyber hornets, and that we have so many people that are willing to do the verifications. It's sort of like open source software in general. You have the entire community checking that everything's okay. So it's still more trustworthy than banks, but still, if we don't put in the effort, then money printing will continue until morale improves. That's just the harsh truth.
Yeah, I tend to agree. There'll be some kind of way somebody will try to figure it out and paper Bitcoin over and sell their shitcoin, their fake Bitcoin. That's just like owning your own keys. That's everything, right? Taking self custody. That's what we always educate for. It's all about being your own bank and not trusting anybody, running a node, verifying. And
just if you buy a rare sat, you are a fool and you're buying paper Bitcoin, because no sat is rarer than the other. It's like saying I'm buying a rare inch. Like, it doesn't there's no such thing as a rare set. They're all rare, and they're all rarer than the alleged rarity of the rarer sat's rarity. And so you are, in a way, that's buying paper Bitcoin, because you're buying something that does not have the security model of the real thing.
A rare inch. I like that. And I like Matyas, what you just had basically very prudent advice. I mean, from having to having, I think a nice goal is just to have more sats from each having, either by producing value and earning those sats, or stacking sats slowly over time, sticking to a long-term plan. I mean, that's always a good goal for everybody. By each having, you should just have more sats. That means you didn't sell, you created some value, or you just continuously stack throughout the bear market. So,
and it's increasingly impossible for everyone to do that. So if you have one more sat than you did last year, every year, you're an absolute winner. Like, there's no way in hell you lost money if you have one more sat. It's just the nature of the system.
Yeah, and Matyas, like, I know you had thoughts around this, but how can Bitcoiners level up? You know, say they're interested in Bitcoin, maybe they own some Bitcoin. What are some ways that a Bitcoiner can just level up their experience with Bitcoin or in life? Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I would say that it's pretty same like going deep into the rabbit hole. It just turned 180, and it sounds better. So you have to spend some time and do some proof of work. Teach yourself the basic techniques, how to self-custody, how to run your own node. And for someone, it can mean this, leveling up, but everyone can level up. Maybe it's just a stop using centralized exchange and find yourself a Bitcoin-only app and buying through there. That's level up. Or just get your shit upgraded. Yeah, stop using single sig and do a Shamra secret sharing or multi-sig. That's also level up. And if you've done all of these things and you are leveling up as an individual, maybe the level up means that you join the Bitcoin ecosystem. You start contributing. If you already work for Bitcoin and you don't have time to contribute, maybe the level up means that you will start donating to open source projects. They really need it. So everyone can level up, and it's just a question of introspection, how you can help Bitcoin, because most probably all of us already benefited from Bitcoin, spiritually, mentally, financially. So maybe it's time, and it's up to every single one of us to decide for yourself. Maybe it's time to give something back, and Bitcoin will appreciate you even more.
To paraphrase Rambo, ask not what your Bitcoin can do for you, but what you can do for your Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely. I can say that about BTC Prague, we are always trying to encourage people to level up, and we changing the things, how we trying to educate our community, because most of the people who come to our conferences since 2020, in 2020 they were noobs, they were newbies, as I was, So we are growing up with the community, and I believe that now is the time for many of us to actually level up, in the sense to start contributing, and Bitcoin ecosystem need more people who can work for Bitcoin. And when is the better time than now, in a bull market, where first the companies are hiring, and the second thing is that we will feel kind of powerful because of the price appreciation. So these two things kind of going together, and at BTC Prague we are just building the bridges between individuals and the ecosystem, so they can help each other and grow together.
I love that message, and I'm actually speaking at BTC Prague, so I'm really pumped to do it for the first time. I've heard such great things about the conference. Great speaker lineups. I mean, some of my favorites like Tur Demister are going to be there. Adam Back, Michael Saylor. It's got some big names. Knut. And so I'm super excited, but I'd love to hear like the origin stories. I think it's you and your brother, right? Are the co-founders of it, and that's grown to one of the largest conferences, if not the largest conference in Europe. How did it come to be? I'm just curious.
Yeah. TLDR. Yeah, it is the largest conference in Europe. Last year we had 6,500 people. And
Wow.
it all started in 2020, in the COVID time, when we decided that we will throw the first Bitcoin conference in Czech Republic for our Czech community. And we managed to do it even though there were some crazy restrictions. We didn't know what is gonna happen in next week. But anyway, we did it, and this opened up the opportunity to really grow. And since that time, we are doubling every year. So in 2021, it was 1,000 people. In 2022, it was more than 2,000 people only in Czech and Slovak language, in our own niche language and for our small community. So at this time in 2022, we actually decided, we saw that there is a huge demand. So we decided that we will do two conferences. One is BTC Prague in June, and one is Chain Camp, which is only for Czech people, Czech and Slovaks, and that's in September. So that's pretty much how it happened. Yeah, we started because there was nothing else except few like meetups in Paralelní in Prague, but not a big conference. And we quickly realized that the market is huge and people love to meet each other in the real world, do the networking, learn about Bitcoin. And especially like in 2020, it was not so clear about the fake news and AI, but now it's pretty clear that you have no chance to navigate through the whole ecosystem without some curation. As a newbie, for the space really needs some curation and some reputable voices, which will lead you as a newcomer through the rabbit hole, so to say.
Yeah, Knut, you've gone the last year or two, right? You've been to BTC Prague.
Yeah. I was there last time.
Can you speak on your experience a little bit of what you thought of it?
Fantastic conference. I mean, very well organized, and it was an honor to speak there and be a huge part of it, or be a part of it. I mean, it's be a part of this huge thing. It was what I was supposed to say. No, it's one of these three big European conferences that I really love. It's Baltic Honey Badger in Riga and Bitcoin Atlantis now on Madeira. That was a first this year. I certainly hope that will happen again. I have that conference has a special place in my heart since I was part of organizing the event. And BTC Prague, which was like, it's the biggest event, and Prague is such a fantastic city also, and just seeing the signal to noise ratio at these conferences, and Prague is BTC Prague is one of the highest signal to noise ratio conferences there is in the world, I would say, because it's big, but it's totally shitcoiner free. It's just the right mentality, and yeah, it's a great event, and very much looking forward to it this year.
Thank you, Knut.
And that's in early June, right, Matyas?
Yeah. It starts 13th of June and it goes for 3 days. So that leads us to 15. So yeah, and there is a DevHack Day the day before. So it's actually 12 to 15 June.
So that's where people can level up a little bit, huh? If they want to.
Well, yeah, you have to already be a lot
You're gonna be a shadowy supercoder.
leveled up to go to this DevHack Day. But no. Even if you have like a basic understanding and you love to get your brain really fried on the first day of the conference, then come to BTC Prague, DevHack Day of the BTC Prague.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I attended that last year, and my brain got fried. Yes.
Well, congrats on the growth. I mean, it's super impressive and inspiring to see anything get built. I mean, maybe it's your Czech background, like you said. You guys just know how to build things, and so congrats on that. Like I said, I'm going to be there. So if you use the promo code Satoshi, you can get 10% off your tickets. So check it out. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about, like, Knut, if you don't mind, this is just, if people are like, maybe there's beginners watching or listeners, this has become such a meme, the infinity divided by 21 million. I've literally seen people with tattoos of that. I don't know. You probably have too, which is like, have you?
I have a folder on my laptop with the everything divided pictures from all around the world, and there's a subfolder in that folder called tattoos, and there are 25 pictures in that folder right now from different people all around the world who has that thing tattooed to their bodies. So yeah, that was a weird experience seeing that thing take off.
Well, for people who have never heard it before, what does it mean? Infinity divided by 21 million. I think people would hear that and they're like, what the heck are you guys talking about?
It's just a reminder that the entirety of everything valuable in the world could be divided by 21 million. We have the unit to measure things by, even though money isn't really a yardstick, but still this thing is the could one day and what's the word, encompass and engulf the
Capture.
entire and capture
Pac-Man.
yeah, the entirety of everything else. So everything there is and everything that ever will be divided by 21 million. It's a reminder that if Bitcoin works, number will go up. Purchasing power will go up over time.
Yeah, to me, I just think about like the total addressable market of all the monetary premiums of basically every other asset that's been used as money because fiat money is broken. And so obviously like real estate's a perfect example. The monetary premium of real estate is astronomical now, much more than the cost to build a house, obviously, because people are using it as a form of money, as a form to save. And Bitcoin has certain properties that make it superior to something like real estate holding over a long period of time. So you would think it would eat the monetary premiums of real estate, bonds, fiat, the stock market, like just, and you have this going down, and then you have the Federal Reserve official going on 60 Minutes saying like we have an infinite amount of cash, and so it's just like there's infinite fiat, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin. That's how I kind of always think about it, and it's just it gets you bullish. It gets you bullish.
If you take just the case of real estate, and if you just zoom in on that, there are more than 21 million houses in the world. There are more than 21 million apartments. And you can't teleport them to Australia very easily. And not for $2. So like there's... yeah, I think this is pretty obvious where Bitcoin will go if it keeps on doing what it's doing. And that is up.
Yeah. Yeah, real estate is... you own a deed to. You can't like own your house really. You own a deed to the house. Property taxes, maintenance costs, like just this goes on and why it's not a better form of money than Bitcoin. But
if you're paying real estate tax, you don't really own your house. You're renting it. Like, and people don't realize this, but that is if someone can force you to pay a fee for something that you allegedly own. You don't really own that. Those people do. And you pay them to rent the thing that you think you own. And this is the thing, like, it's in your the house may be in your possession, but you don't own it. And this is the difference between ownership and possession goes over people's heads sometimes. And Bitcoin is neither, you don't own it or possess it. It possesses you. So it's even deeper than possessing a thing. Like it's just keeping a secret. It's just information, which means you can't take it from other people. Like I can point a gun at your head and say, "Give me all your Bitcoin," but I can never know how many you have. So everything changes.
Yeah. Well, this has been a fun conversation. I wanted to close with just some closing thoughts for Matyas. If there's anything that you want to let people know about, more about BTC Prague, or just any final parting words, leave it to you, man.
Oh, well, enjoy the halving party, everyone. I will be with my family, and see you in Prague. I think that you will be very, very happy if you come. Prague is a beautiful city. We have a great beer, nice girls, and a lot to talk about the Bitcoin. So I cannot tell more. Yeah, please come and celebrate some orange color with us.
Yeah, I'm an engaged man, Matyas.
Oh yeah, I've heard about it. Congrats, man.
Knut,
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's why, Madeira is special for me too, honestly. Bitcoin Atlantis.
Yeah, not just destroyed Peter Schiff.
That was beautiful. I know. It was beautiful. That was like she did not know that was going to happen at all.
No, and she's like always, she kills it. Like I'm so impressed by her. She's great. Great for the community.
Yeah, obviously, I think she's great too. And Knut, but I thought, leaving some parting words for you. I know you have a new book that you're working on. Maybe you can lead people with some information about that, what it's about, when it's going to come out.
Yeah, I'm writing a new book. The working title is The Inverse of Clown World, and it's about what causes Clown World, how to view Clown World, and how to put on truth goggles, and how to get out of it, and how to separate yourself from it, and how that leads to a better life. It's inspired very much by the conversations we had on the Freedom Footprint show this year, and I'm co-writing it with my co-host on the show, Luke de Wolf. So I'm writing the bulk of it, and then we have a go at it, both of us, and we try to make it into the best thing we can. And it's sort of a spiritual successor to Everything Divided by 21 Million. And I'm looking forward to releasing it to the world. So one day, I think we have enough material, enough novel thoughts to turn it into a book now. And I'm very much looking forward to that entire process. And looking forward to the halving in Warsaw, and BTC Prague after that, and a couple of other events during the year.
Yeah, I'm super excited to check out your new book when it comes out. So I'll keep an eye out for that. And well, I feel like I certainly leveled up talking to you guys. So thanks for coming on Swan Signal Live. Best of luck planning for the final month before BTC Prague, or a couple months. Matyas, I know it's a lot to put on an event, so good luck with that. It's going to be great.
We don't count it in months anymore. It's just weeks.
This is weeks, yeah.
That's 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Don't you count in blocks?
I was going to say, I thought you just completely lived on block time now. But yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with planning that. Like I said, you can use the promo code Satoshi to get 10% off your tickets if you're interested in going to BTC Prague. Can't wait to go there. And thanks again, guys, for coming on Swan Signal Live. Really enjoyed our talk.
Thank you for invitation, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. This was great. Take care.
Take care. Well, that was fun. Like I said, I love talking to European Bitcoiners. There's just something about them. They kind of represent the ethos of Bitcoin, I think, and they really understand their stuff, and they're builders and they're thinkers. And so I can't wait to go to BTC Prague And I love talking to Matyas and Knut, and I hope you did too. So keep an eye out for Knut's new book. We got another excellent show lined up for you guys next week. So stay tuned. Let me know what you thought. Comment. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That always helps us get our message out there. And we just really, really appreciate your guys' support. And yeah, Sam Callahan, I'm out. So thank you. Thanks for listening.